welcome to Alien Whispers. If you enjoy the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Now, let's dive into the story. The Interstellar Assembly Chamber was a triumph of cosmic engineering, a translucent sphere drifting in the void, circling a dimming star. Its clear walls unveiled a stunning universe, spiraling galaxies, far-off novas, and a faint shimmer of unknown planets. Inside, representatives from myriad species filled the circular hall, their forms as diverse as the cosmos. The Kravos loomed, their armored exoskeletons gleaming like dark quartz. The Solari, sentient wisps of glowing vapor, floated like living mists. The Grunder, broad and boulder-like, sat with the stoic weight of their stony world. At the chamber's core hovered the assembly speaker, a luminous being of pure light, its hues shifting with its emotions. Today it glowed a stark violet, signaling a decision of dire import. Eldrin, the Sylith ambassador, sat in a padded seat crafted for his slight, delicate frame. His silver-gray fur caught the hall's gentle lights, and his vestigial tendrils quivered with unease. At barely 4 feet tall, he was small even among his kind, his wiry limbs a mark of the Sylith's physical weakness. Known across the stars for their awkwardness, the Sylith were a galactic jest, deemed the least competent species for 70 cycles. Yet their homeworld, Sylithar, held immense crystal reserves, a lure for plunderers. The speaker's voice resonated, translated into countless tongues by advanced AI. The Assembly has decided. All military support for the Sylith homeworld is revoked. A species so inept is unworthy of our defense. Protect yourselves as you can. The word inept struck Eldrin like a blow. Chuckles echoed through the hall. The Kravos' mandibles clattered in mirth. The Grunder grinned, and even the Solari dimmed in scorn. Eldrin's tendrils drooped, his spirit sinking as the virtual session faded. He was back in his quarters on Sylithar, evening's soft radiance seeping through a slim window. The room was simple, with stone furniture etched with flowing designs by Sylith crafters and a cushioned floor to soften frequent trips. But today, the familiar warmth brought no comfort. Eldrin's hands shook as he removed the virtual headset, its smooth surface mirroring his wide, anxious eyes. He paced, his small feet sinking into the soft floor, his thoughts racing. The Sylith had depended on the Assembly's protection for ages, their planet's riches a constant temptation for invaders. Without aid, they were helpless. Contesting the verdict seemed pointless. The speaker's tone was absolute. Hiring mercenaries was unfeasible. The Sylith economy was steady but modest, barely meeting basic needs. Alliances with other species? Absurd, given their reputation as the galaxy's most bumbling race. Despair loomed until a memory sparked. A talk from his early days as ambassador. Nathan Cole, the human delegate, had been unique. While others sneered, Nathan had treated Eldrin as a peer, swapping tales over drinks and brushing off Eldrin's clumsy mishaps with warm humor. Even after humanity's banishment from the Assembly for their erratic ways, Nathan had stayed a friend. Could humanity, now exiles themselves, offer help? With a glimmer of hope, Eldrin grabbed the headset and called Nathan's last known contact. Static hissed, then Nathan's face appeared. Older, with silver flecks in his dark hair, but with the same kind, inquisitive eyes. Ambassador Eldrin, Nathan greeted, a touch of surprise in his tone. It's been a while. Nathan, Eldrin said, foregoing formality. My people are in peril. The Assembly's forsaken us, called us inept. We're defenseless. Nathan's brow creased. That's harsh, ELD. I am sorry. But why me? Humanity's not exactly on the Assembly's guest list either. You saw us differently, Eldrin urged. You believed in us when no one else did. I need guidance, or aid. Nathan leaned back, pensive. After our exile, we didn't vanish. We formed the Alliance, a ragtag group of outcasts. It's small, rough, but it's real. Maybe the Sylith could join. Eldrin's tendrils perked. En alliance. What's it like? Fewer rules, more teamwork, Nathan said. Species share resources, skills, defense. I need to meet your elders, see what you bring. I'll arrange it, Eldrin replied, hope stirring. Can you come to Sylithar? Nathan grinned. Give me a week. I'll be there. The call ended, and Eldrin gazed out at the silver woodlands below. For the first time since the verdict, he felt a faint thread of possibility piercing the gloom. 7 days later, Eldrin stood at Sylithar spaceport, a simple platform nestled among towering trees, with shimmering silver leaves glowing in the endless twilight. The air was cool, scented with moss and stone. Nathan's shuttle landed with a gentle hum, its sleek hull reflecting the silver canopy. The human stepped out, his tall frame dwarfing the Sylith attendants. His hair was grayer than Eldrin recalled, with new lines on his face, but his eyes sparkled with familiar zeal. ELD, Nathan called, striding over and clapping Eldrin on the shoulder, nearly toppling him. Great to see you again. And you, Nathan, Eldrin replied, steadying himself with a smile. Thank you for coming. They headed to the council hall, a low structure of carved stone and crystal, its walls engraved with scenes of Sylith history. Crafters at work, families united, moments of quiet endurance. Inside, the elders waited, their silver fur and delicate features echoing Eldrin's. Soren, the eldest, sat at the center, her keen eyes locked on Nathan as he began his pitch. The Alliance is about thriving through unity, Nathan said, his voice firm and assured. There's no strict hierarchy like the Interstellar Assembly, just species supporting each other. The Solari bring bioengineering, the Aerith craft advanced vessels, and even the Pico, tiny as they are, manage volatile substances with unmatched precision. Every member offers something unique. Soren's tendrils twitched skeptically. And what can we offer? The galaxy views us as clumsy fools, unfit for any role. Nathan smiled, unfazed. Every species has a strength. We just need to find yours. The elders exchanged looks, their faces blending doubt and intrigue. They agreed to consider the proposal, but their reluctance was clear. After the meeting, Nathan asked for a tour of Sylithar to understand the Sylith way of life. Eldrin complied, guiding him through silver woodlands, where leaves drifted in slow, elegant spirals, and past homes with cushioned interiors designed to forgive frequent stumbles. They visited learning centers, their walls padded and corners smooth to protect clumsy students, a testament to the Sylith's adaptation to their limits. Their final stop was the Grand Archive, a vast structure housing historical records, cultural relics, and quiet study nooks. As they entered, they stumbled upon a surprising sight. 3 young Sylith, Rin, Mira, and Torin, huddled around a makeshift gaming setup. On the screen, vibrant avatars battled in a human game, Starstrike Arena, performing swift, acrobatic moves with bursts of radiant energy. Eldrin's tendrils stiffened in disapproval. What is this? He demanded, his voice echoing in the silent hall. Playing combat games in the archive? While our survival is at stake. The youths flinched, nearly knocking over their setup. Rin, the tallest, stammered, Ambassador Eldrin, we were just wasting time. Eldrin snapped, his frustration flaring. Nathan placed a steadying hand on Eldrin's shoulder, his eyes fixed on the screen. Hold on, ELD. That's Starstrike Arena, the neural adaptive version. It's one of the toughest games out there. Most species can't keep up with its speed, not even some humans. Eldrin blinked, puzzled. It's trivial, Nathan. No, Nathan said, stepping closer to the youths. It's reflexes, tactics, precision. Look at their skill. They're impeccable. He turned to Rin. How long have you been playing this? 5 months, Rin replied, his tendrils lifting with cautious pride. We practice daily after studies. Nathan's face broke into a broad grin. ELD, I've got it. This is what the Sylith bring to the Alliance. The idea lingered, bold and unproven, as the youths exchanged hopeful glances, their earlier nervousness giving way to a spark of excitement. Nathan's vision was daring. Harness the Sylith's surprising talent for virtual control to pilot battleframes. Towering, humanoid machines capable of defending Sylithar. Their neural pathways, refined by years of navigating their clumsy bodies, were uniquely suited for processing complex virtual inputs. What others saw as a flaw, Nathan saw as a strength. Eldrin frowned, his tendrils sagging slightly. Video games are one thing, Nathan. Piloting by machines? That's a stretch. It's not a stretch, Nathan insisted, his voice brimming with certainty. It's a natural progression. Their skill in virtual spaces is unmatched. With the right tech, they could control battleframes with precision no other species could match. Convincing the elders was a tougher hurdle. Back in the council hall, Soren led the opposition, her voice sharp with doubt. Machines? We are not fighters. This is reckless madness. Nathan countered with a demonstration. He arranged for Rin, Mira, and Torn to display their gaming skills before the council. The youths set up their station in the hall, their fingers a blur as they executed complex moves in Starstrike Arena. The screen flared with vivid strikes and counters, each move perfectly timed. The elders, initially skeptical, leaned forward, their gasps about filling the room as Rin pulled off a flawless, high-skill sequence. Soren's tendrils twitched, a sign of reluctant interest. Impressive, but can this translate to real defense? With human engineering and alliance support, absolutely, Nathan said, his confidence unshaken. Give us a chance to prove it. After a fierce debate, the elders gave cautious approval, swayed by the youth's display and Nathan's conviction. The project launched with urgency, transforming a vast facility on Sylithar's outskirts into a hub of innovation. The site, where silver woodlands met open plains, buzzed with activity as human engineers arrived, hauling crates of advanced robotics and neural interface tech. Sylith technicians, eager to learn, worked alongside them, their initial clumsiness offset by sharp minds. The Alliance's diverse members contributed expertise. The Solari offered bioengineered power cells that pulsed with organic energy. The Aerith shared sleek, aerodynamic frame designs, and the Pico provided alloys that withstood extreme conditions. The collaboration was a testament to the Alliance's strength, a coalition of outcasts building something remarkable. Early days were challenging. The battleframe prototypes, massive figures of alloy and circuits, moved clumsily in initial tests, their controls misaligned with the Sylith's unique neurology. Virtual crashes mounted, frustration growing among the engineers. But Rin and his fellow pilots, recruited from Sylith gaming circles, pressed on. They spent countless hours in simulators, refining inputs, and overcoming the flaws in early designs. Nathan played a key role, integrating the Sylith into the Alliance's fold. He introduced them to its eclectic members during virtual meetings, where the Solari's radiant forms captivated Eldrin. The Aerith's graceful designs inspired new ideas, and the Pico's unexpected toughness earned respect. The Sylith began to see themselves as part of something greater, not just a species on the edge. Months into the project, the battleframes evolved, sleeker, stronger, more responsive. Rin named his unit Shadow Strike, a deep gray Titan armed with an energy lance that hummed with contained power. In a test run, Shadow Strike glided across the field, hitting a target with uncanny grace, earning cheers from the team. Eldrin watched, his doubts fading. Over a glass of tea, a human habit he'd grudgingly adopted, he admitted to Nathan, this might actually work. It will, Nathan replied, clinking glasses. They're going to stun the galaxy. The Sylith began to believe, not just in the machines, but in themselves. The facility pulsed with purpose, a beacon of hope in a world under threat. The Battleframe project tested everyone's resolve. Clara Hayes, a human engineer with a sharp mind and sharper tongue, led the technical team. Her frustration was evident as she wrestled with the Sylith's erratic neural signals. It's like chasing shadows, she muttered, hunched over a console strewn with diagnostic readouts. Their brainwaves are too quick, too erratic. Rin, now a lead pilot and a regular at the facility, overheard her during a late shift. He hesitated, then spoke up. Maybe it's too complicated. In games, we don't overthink. We just react. Can you simplify the controls? Clara rolled her eyes, her patience thin. Simplify? This isn't a toy, kid. But after a moment, she sighed and waved him off. Fine, I'll try it. She reworked the interface, streamlining it to mimic the intuitive controls of Starstrike Arena. The next test was a breakthrough. Shadow Strike danced across the training field, flipping and striking with stunning precision, its movements fluid and instinctive. Clara stared, jaw dropped, then muttered, "Kid's got a point." The success energized the team. They linked multiple battle frames to a central command hub, enabling coordinated tactics. The Sylith Defense Corps began to form, its pilots, once dismissed as idle gamers, now warriors in training. They drilled tirelessly, crafting moves inspired by their virtual battles. Shadow Strike's energy lance became a hallmark, piercing mock targets with a radiant glow. Yet doubt persisted among the Sylith leadership. Soren cornered Eldrin after a training session, her voice low but firm. "We're staking our future on these machines. What if they fail when it matters most?" Eldrin met her gaze, his own uncertainty tempered by necessity. "We have no other path, Soren. This is our chance to prove ourselves." Nathan boosted morale, sharing tales of humanity's struggles after their assembly exile. During a late-night briefing, he told the pilots, "We were outcasts too, dismissed as reckless. But we forged our own way. You're doing the same." His words struck a chord, especially with Rin, who began to see the battle frames as extensions of his own will. The pilots pushed harder, their confidence growing with each successful test. The facility became a hive of activity, engineers and pilots in sync, their shared goal forging bonds across species. As the battle frames neared combat readiness, rumors of a looming threat reached Sylithar. Scouts reported Kravos ships gathering near the system's edge, their warlike species eyeing the planet's resources now that the Assembly's protection was gone. The Sylith braced themselves, their newfound pride mingling with fear. One evening, as the team reviewed a successful drill, Clara approached Rin, a rare smile softening her stern features. "You were right about the controls," she said. "Keep it up, kid." Rin's tendrils twitched with pride. "Just doing what I know." The exchange marked a shift. The Sylith were no longer just following orders. They were shaping their own fate, one virtual move at a time. Soren's resistance peaked at a council meeting, her voice slicing through the hall. "We are forsaking our ways for these machines," she argued, her tendrils rigid with conviction. "We are pacifists, not warriors. This endangers our culture, our identity." Talia, a younger elder with a fiery spirit, retorted, "Our pacifism left us vulnerable. These battle frames are our strength, our chance to rise." The debate grew heated, dividing the council. Some elders sided with Soren, wary of losing their heritage. Others backed Talia, seeing the battle frames as salvation. The rift threatened to stall the project, sowing doubt among pilots and technicians. Eldrin, caught between both sides, proposed a compromise. "We need proof the battle frames can protect us," he said. "Let's stage a live drill in a controlled setting. If they succeed, we proceed. If they fail, we rethink our course." The elders agreed, and the drill was set in a remote canyon ringed by jagged peaks, a natural arena for testing. Rin led the squad, his Shadow Strike flanked by Myra's Skydancer, a swift blue battle frame with pulse cannons, and Torin's Stone Guard, a silver tank built for defense. The targets were drones programmed to mimic Kravos ships, darting and firing with relentless aggression. The elders watched from a ridge, their faces a mix of hope and skepticism. The drill began with a roar as Shadow Strike surged forward, its energy lance igniting in a blazing arc. Rin bisected a drone mid-flight, its halves crashing in sparks. Skydancer darted above, blasting targets with pinpoint accuracy, while Stone Guard anchored the line, its glowing shield absorbing a barrage of simulated missiles. The display was seamless, coordinated, lethal, and breathtaking. The battle frames moved as one, their pilots' virtual skills translating into real-world mastery. When the final drone fell, the canyon fell silent, the elders staring in stunned awe. Soren, her stern face softening, descended to meet Eldrin. "Perhaps I misjudged," she admitted. But we must ensure we remain Sylith, not just soldiers. Eldrin nodded. We will. This is about survival, not change. The drill unified the Sylith, rallying them behind the project. Training intensified, with new pilots joining Rin's ranks. The battleframes were refined, faster, tougher, their neural interfaces now seamless. The Sylith Defense Corps stood ready, its pilots no longer clumsy youths, but guardians in waiting. Nathan, observing the drill, clapped Rin on the shoulder afterward. You made believers out of them, he said. Rin grinned, his tendrils high. We're just getting started. The canyon echoed with the hum of battleframes powering down, a sound that heralded a new era for Silithar. As the battleframe project neared completion, warnings of danger grew louder. Scouts reported Kravos ships massing near the system's edge, their warlike species coveting Silithar's crystal wealth. The Assembly's withdrawal had left the planet exposed, and the Kravos, known for their ruthless conquests, saw an opportunity. In the command center, a vast chamber of screens and pilot stations, Eldrin monitored incoming reports, his tendrils twitching with unease. The battleframes were nearly combat-ready, their designs finalized, their pilots trained. But the Kravos were no mere raiders. Their fleet was a juggernaut, battle-hardened and relentless. Rin, now a confident leader, rallied his team during a briefing. We've trained for this, he told them, his voice steady. Our battleframes are ready, and so are we. Eldrin admired Rin's resolve, but couldn't shake his own fears. The Kravos fleet was rumored to number dozens of ships, from agile fighters to massive cruisers. Could untested pilots, even with advanced battleframes, stand against such a force? One evening, a scout burst into the command center breathless. The Kravos fleet is here. They'll reach orbit by dawn. Eldrin's heart raced. Alert the pilots. Prepare the battleframes. The facility sprang into action. Pilots donned their VR headsets, their faces a mix of determination and nerves. Engineers ran final checks, calibrating weapons and shields. Strategists huddled over holographic maps, plotting defense patterns. In the hangar, the battleframes stood ready, Shadow Strike at the forefront, its deep gray hull gleaming, flanked by Skydancer, Stone Guard, and a dozen others, each reflecting its pilot's personality. Remember your training, Eldrin told the pilots, his voice projecting calm he didn't feel. You are Silithar's defenders. Rin nodded, his tendrils steady. We won't let you down, Ambassador. As the pilots linked to their battleframes, their minds merging with the machines, Eldrin felt a surge of pride. The Sylith were ready to face their greatest challenge, not alone, but with allies who believed in them. Nathan, standing beside him, offered a reassuring nod. They've got this, ELD. Outside, the sky darkened as the Kravos fleet approached, their silhouettes ominous against the stars. The battle for Silithar was about to begin. Dawn broke with a sky shadowed by the Kravos fleet, 50 ships from swift fighters to massive cruisers, descending with brutal intent. Laser beams seared the capital's outskirts, sending tremors through the silver woodlands. The air hummed with the roar of engines and the crackle of energy weapons. In the command center, Eldrin watched the screens, his heart pounding. Rows of Sylith pilots sat in specialized chairs, their VR headsets linking them to the battleframes. The room was eerily quiet, broken only by murmurs of focus as the pilots synchronized with their machines. On the central screen, real-time footage showed the battle unfolding. The Kravos ships were formidable, their formations tight, their tactics honed by centuries of conquest. They expected an easy victory, a defenseless planet ripe for plunder. Instead, the Sylith battleframes rose to meet them, Shadow Strike leading the charge, its energy lance glowing with fierce power. Skydancer darted beside it, blue and sleek, while Stone Guard anchored the rear, its silver hull a bulwark against enemy fire. Rin's voice came through the comms, calm and focused. Engage! The Kravos were caught off guard. Shadow Strike surged forward, Rin dodging a volley of laser fire with a spin, then striking a fighter with a single thrust that split it in two. Skydancer weaved through the chaos, Myra's pulse cannons picking off targets with surgical precision. Stoneguard, piloted by Torin, absorbed a missile barrage, its shields flaring but holding strong. The battle was fierce, the sky a tapestry of fire and metal. The Kravos' numbers were overwhelming, their ships swarming like predators. A battleframe took a direct hit, its pilot ejecting safely via the virtual interface, but the loss stung. Eldrin's tendrils twitched with worry. The outcome hung in the balance. Status report, he requested, his voice steady despite the chaos. "We're holding," Rin replied, his tone unwavering. "They're targeting our power cores." "Adjust tactics," Eldrin ordered. "Protect those cores at all costs." The pilots adapted, using their agility to evade critical hits. Shadow Strike danced through the fray, Rin striking from unexpected angles, his lance a blur of energy. Skydancer flanked the enemy, disrupting their formations, while Stoneguard drew fire, allowing others to maneuver. The Kravos, realizing this was no easy conquest, intensified their assault. A cruiser unleashed a barrage that shook the ground, but the battle frames held firm, their virtual control allowing them to outmaneuver their foes. Slowly, the Sylith gained ground, their skills translating into real-world effectiveness. Eldrin watched, pride swelling despite his fear. The Sylith, once deemed inept, were proving their worth. Rin's leadership was key, his gaming-honed instincts guiding the team through the chaos. As the battle raged, Rin noticed a pattern in the Kravos' attacks. They were focusing on isolating individual battle frames, hoping to break the Sylith's formation. He relayed this to the command center, his voice cutting through the static. "They're trying to split us up." Eldrin seized the opportunity. "Switch to group tactics. Work as a unit." Rin rallied his team, coordinating their movements via the neural link. Shadow Strike led a formation that drew enemy fire, baiting the Kravos into overextending. Skydancer and Stoneguard flanked the attackers, striking from the sides. The strategy worked. Several fighters fell, their wreckage scattering across the plains. The Kravos, frustrated, grew disorganized. Rin seized the moment, leading a daring charge that broke their lines. Shadow Strike soared, its energy lance cleaving through a cruiser's hull in a fiery arc. The ship erupted, debris raining harmlessly as Rin landed, already targeting the next threat. Other battle frames followed, their pilots emboldened. Skydancer disabled a fighter's engines with a precise cannon strike, sending it spiraling. Stoneguard absorbed a barrage, its shields glowing, protecting its allies. The Sylith were no longer just surviving, they were dominating. The Kravos' confidence wavered. Their fleet, once a seamless machine, fractured under the battle frame's relentless assault. Rin pushed the advantage, coordinating a multi-pronged attack that overwhelmed a second cruiser. The pilot's virtual skills, honed in countless gaming sessions, translated into a battlefield symphony of precision and power. Eldrin watched the screens, his earlier fear giving way to awe. The Sylith, mocked for generations, were rewriting their story. Rin's leadership was pivotal, his instincts guiding the team to victory. As the Kravos faltered, their fleet began to retreat, ships jumping to hyperspace to escape the battleframe's wrath. Rin pursued, ensuring they couldn't regroup. With a final strike, Shadow Strike disabled the lead ship's engines, leaving it adrift, a warning to others. The remaining Kravos vanished, leaving Silithar's skies clear. The command center erupted in cheers, pilots removing their headsets to embrace, their faces alight with triumph. Eldrin exhaled, relief flooding him as he realized they had won. Sylithar emerged unscathed, its silver woodlands untouched by the Kravos' wrath. The capital buzzed with celebration, Sylith spilling into the streets, their cheers echoing through the twilight-lit trees. In the command center, Eldrin addressed the pilots, his voice thick with pride. "Today, you showed the galaxy what we're capable of. You are our defenders, our pride." Rin, sweat matting his fur, grinned. We did it together, Ambassador. News of the victory spread like wildfire, reaching the Interstellar Assembly. Once dismissive, they now flooded Eldrin with urgent requests for details about the Sylith's defense systems. He responded with a wry smile. I'll discuss it at the next meeting, perhaps on the 5th of Never human calendar. The Sylith's status transformed overnight. No longer the galaxy's punchline, they were celebrated for their innovative battleframe force. The Alliance welcomed them as equals, their bond with humanity cemented by shared triumph. Nathan, standing beside Eldrin during the celebrations, clapped him on the shoulder, gently this time. Told you they'd surprise everyone. You did, Eldrin said, sipping tea, a habit he now enjoyed. This is just the beginning. In the capital's plaza, a festival erupted. Musicians played traditional Sylith melodies, their notes weaving through the air, while crafters displayed intricate carvings inspired by the battleframes. Young Sylith, inspired by Rin's heroics, crowded around training booths, eager to test their own virtual skills. Soren, her skepticism replaced by quiet pride, approached Eldrin. You were right to trust them, she said. We found our strength without losing ourselves. Eldrin nodded, his heart full. The Sylith had not only survived, they had thrived, their victory a testament to their resilience and their allies' faith. The victory reshaped Sylith society. Virtual control became a cornerstone of their culture, with gaming no longer a pastime, but a respected skill. Training centers sprouted across Sylithar, their halls filled with aspiring pilots. Battleframes patrolled the skies, their presence a quiet reassurance against future threats. Rin emerged as a hero, his story inspiring countless youths. He mentored new pilots, teaching them the reflexes and strategies that had saved their world. Shadow Strike, now a symbol of Sylith resilience, was enshrined in the capital's plaza. Its deep gray form a monument to their triumph. The Alliance grew stronger, with the Sylith contributing their battleframe expertise. The Solari developed enhanced bioenergy cores, boosting the battleframe's efficiency. The Aerith refined their designs, making them faster and more agile. The Pico forged advanced alloys, ensuring durability. The Alliance became a beacon for outcast species, a testament to the power of collaboration. Nathan stayed on Sylithar as a permanent ambassador, working closely with Eldrin. Their friendship, once a flicker of hope, had become the foundation of a powerful alliance. Over tea, a ritual they now share daily, they discussed plans for the future. We're not just allies, Nathan said one evening, the silver woodland glowing beyond their window. We're family. Family, Eldrin echoed, smiling. I like that. Sylithar transformed into a hub of innovation. Trade agreements with neutral species bolstered their economy, and their battleframe technology drew interest galaxy-wide. The planet, once a target, now stood as a symbol of resilience and ingenuity. Young Sylith flocked to training centers, their clumsiness no longer a source of shame, but a quirk overshadowed by their virtual prowess. The stigma of their past faded, replaced by pride in their unique talents. As months passed, the Sylith embraced their new identity. Sylithar became a center of technological and cultural exchange, its archives and workshops buzzing with activity. Scholars studied virtual control, refining the neural interfaces that powered the battleframes. Crafters fashioned sculptures inspired by Shadow Strike, their works blending tradition with modernity. Rin's influence grew. His training programs produced a new generation of pilots, their skills rivaling his own. He remained humble, often joining recruits in simulators, laughing as they outmaneuvered him. You're making me look bad, he'd tease, his tendrils twitching with pride. The Sylith's battleframes became a galactic commodity. Neutral species, wary of the Assembly's bureaucracy, sought partnerships, and the Sylith negotiated with newfound confidence. Their economy flourished, funding schools, infrastructure, and cultural projects that celebrated their heritage. The Alliance expanded, welcoming new members inspired by the Sylith's success. The Alliance's diversity, Solari's biotech, Aerith's designs, Pico's alloys, and Sylith's virtual control made it a formidable force. Eldrin, now a respected leader, spoke at Alliance summits, his once timid voice carrying weight. One evening, Eldrin and Nathan walked through the capital, passing a mural depicting the Kravos battle. "We've come far," Eldrin said, his gaze lingering on Shadow Strike's image. "Thanks to you," Nathan replied. "You took a chance on us." "And you on us," Eldrin countered. "That's what made the difference." The Sylith's role in the galaxy solidified. No longer weak or overlooked, they were innovators, defenders, and allies. Their story spread, a beacon for others seeking their own path. On a hill overlooking the capital, Eldrin and Nathan stood as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the silver woodlands in hues of twilight and amber. Battleframes patrolled in the distance, their silhouettes a quiet promise of security. The air was cool, carrying the scent of moss and the faint hum of the city below. "You did it, ELD," Nathan said, his voice warm as he sipped his tea. "You found your place among the stars." "We couldn't have done it without you," Eldrin replied, his own teacup warm in his hands. "Humanity saw our potential when no one else did." Nathan clapped him on the shoulder, careful not to knock him over this time. That's what friends are for. The Sylith's journey, from outcasts to defenders, had reshaped their world and beyond. Their alliance with humanity, forged in a moment of desperation, had grown into a partnership that defied the galaxy's expectations. The alliance stood as a testament to what misfits could achieve together, its members united by shared struggles and triumphs. Below, the capital glowed, its streets alive with Sylith celebrating their new era. Children played in padded parks, their laughter mingling with the music of street performers. Training centers hummed with activity, their simulators training the next generation of pilots. Crafters displayed their works, blending ancient Sylith motifs with images of battleframes and stars. Rin, now a mentor and leader, was among the crowd, guiding young recruits through a virtual drill. His laughter carried up the hill, a sound of joy and purpose. Shadow Strike, enshrined in the plaza, stood as a reminder of the Sylith's resilience, its energy lance forever poised to defend. The future was uncertain, but it was bright. With their human friends and alliance allies, the Sylith were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Their story, born from a spark of hope, would echo through the stars for generations, a tale of friendship, ingenuity, and the power of believing in the overlooked. Eldrin raised his teacup, a silent toast to the journey. "To family," he said. "To family," Nathan echoed, clinking cups. As the stars emerged, twinkling above the silver woodlands, the Sylith stood tall, no longer the clumsy species everyone gave up on, but a force to be reckoned with, their legacy written in the light of a new dawn.